November the 15th, 2023 at the Beanfield was Mammoth WVH. And what I remember about that show was dude was like shredding, and then he would stop and he'd put the hair behind his ears and he'd go, "Hey guys, that was really great. Thanks so much." Montreal's a really great city. So fast forward to November the 25th, Bell Center with Creed. And I walk in and Mammoth WVH is on stage. They're doing the distance. And he is like melting your face off. Just incendiary to grab from Almost Famous. And he finishes. He throws the hair behind. I'm like, this guy's had a year of seasoning, right? Guys are out to the microphone. He goes, "Hey, you guys, this is really great. Montreal's a great city. Comment allez-vous, bonjour, thank you very much, merci." Like literally the most unassuming. I fell in love with him this past year. I think he's taken the legacy thing of his father. He incorporates it into his shows, but he's not show-offy about it. It's just part of what he does, and it's almost like it's not even like copying so much as it's continuing what the legacy has given him. And I just got all the respect in the world for this guy, so that's why he was my favorite show of the year.
He does. He doesn't take any crap from anybody.
No,
because there's a lot of old schoolers online that'll say, "Well, your dad wouldn't have done it that way," and he'll take him, take him down because he's
classy way.
He's respectful.
But it'll take him to town, though. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He will defend himself. Absolutely. He's really interesting to follow on socials.
Great year for live music, no doubt about it. A lot of the shows that I saw, we would never play on CHOM, and that's fine. Seeing Pink again was incredible because it always is. Getting to Osheaga again was fantastic because I like music that moves, right? So Teddy Swims was a highlight for me at Osheaga this year. I had seen Green Day a couple of times. I'd seen Smashing Pumpkins a few years ago, so I was leaving when Smashing Pumpkins were rocking it out. So that felt pretty rock and roll. Like, they're playing, I'm leaving, this is good. It just, the audience was zeroed in on what they were doing, and it was great. Also, I didn't have to deal with the crowd in the metro.
You stole a car that night.
I stole 2 cars.
Drove one halfway home.
Yep.
Dumped it.
I could.
Set it on fire.
I did it because I could.
Yeah.
Now, the Linda Lindas were also very spectacular at Osheaga this year, so that was really cool. But the artist that I'm going to pick is one off my bucket list because I'd never seen Billy Idol perform live before. Ooh. So to see him and Platinum Blonde open up, like, I was 16-year-old Sharon again, so it was fantastic. And the fact that Billy Idol is so self-aware, and by self-aware, I mean he is very into showing that he still goes to the gym. So it was an open shirt affair, and then it was off kind of and back on. Anyways, he sounded amazing. He looked fantastic. He is in his more senior years, but he still sounded amazing. So I'm going to pick Billy Idol as my concert for this year.
Mine was Halloween night. Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. First time in 16 years. Thank you again, Matthew Wood and Pierre Landry, for making it happen. And so 2 weeks before, I had flown out west to see my dad, who was getting very frail, very weak, and we kind of knew, he was in his final days. So I went to the 2 weeks afterwards, when I came back, I went to see Bruce Springsteen, and I thought it was going to be a rollicking, chrome-wheeled, fuel-injected, array of hits. And he played hits, but it actually was really profound and really moving. Anybody who's seen the documentary Road Diary will know that the inspiration behind this tour, or at least his selection of the set list, was the fact that he'd lost a very dear friend, the guy who had been in his very first band with him a few years before. He lost his mother as well earlier on this year. And so you would think, okay, well, that sounds rather somber and mournful, but actually it was kind of like a 3-hour, 20-minute New Orleans funeral parade. It was this rollicking celebration of life. And as he said at one point, and he's on the road, and also Patty Scialfa, his wife, is battling cancer. So obviously, mortality is at the forefront of his thoughts. But as he said during the show, he said, it brings a certain clarity of thought and of purpose and of meaning, death that is. Death's final and lasting gift to us all is an expanded vision of this life, of how important it is to seize the day whenever you can. So the whole point of the night was just embracing this moment. You are here. I am here. The band is all here. Let's just celebrate this moment. And 2 weeks later, my dad passed away. But the memory of that night carried me through. It was an incredible experience. And thank you again to both Matthew and Pierre.
I'm glad I got to share.
It was a magical night.
I'm glad I got to share that moment with you at the show. And it was such an emotional ride watching, Springsteen, who's now 75, I believe, at the top of his game at 75.
Yeah.
He's unstoppable. And
an 18-piece band. I turned to you at one point and I said, who else is doing this? Is there anybody out there other than, I don't know, Taylor Swift, who goes on the road with an 18-piece band?
For 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
With no break. No break. It was incredible. It was really, Stéphane Drolet from Sony Music and his boss, Warren Kopnick. And Warren, before the show, looks at me and he says, "You are now entering the church of Bruce." And he was not wrong. It's just one of those awakenings when you're at a Springsteen show. And it was my first as well. And what a magical night that was.
And I think it was also made a little bit extra special by the fact that Jake Clemens, who's filling in for his uncle, Clarence Clemens, lives in Montreal.
That's right.
And he had taken the entire band out to a restaurant the night before. I have yet to find out which restaurant it was. But they closed the restaurant just for the band. And do you know which restaurant it was? So that night, you could see it on Jake's face. He was like, guys, this is my town. And every time he'd do a solo, the whole place went crazy. And you could just see the pride on his face. It's like, I invited all my friends to come and join me here in Montreal. Isn't this great? And at one point, Bruce Springsteen, he got this roar from the crowd and he stepped back. He looked like he was a bit taken aback. And then he said, you guys are one of the best arena crowds that we've ever played for. And I turned to, what was his name again from the record company?
Warren?
Yeah, Warren. And I said, does he say, Warren's seen him like 250 times. And I said, does he say that all the time? He said, no, that was genuine.
Wow.
Wow.
That's
So
Bruce
how about
Springsteen.
before we get into some Bruce, we have raise our glasses to Randy's dad.
Absolutely.
May he rest in peace.
Condolences.
Condolences.
I'll just mention as well that he's the reason why I got into broadcasting, because he was for 35 years, he was the public address announcer at the Winnipeg Blue Bomber games. So I grew up sitting beside him with a microphone in front of him, and that's the reason why I got into broadcasting. Thank you, Dad.
Yeah, there was so many shows this year, but Pierre had already given a little nod to the one that I, hit me the hardest and was definitely a show that I'd been
Don't hold
waiting
back.
so
Go,
long
go, go.
for, was the Black Crowes at MTELUS. That was, it was like a schooling in how rock and roll at least used to be, and probably still should be in a lot of cases, in the sense that there were no pyro. There was no screens.
Yeah.
There were no lasers, no smoke machines, nothing. Just the band.
All about the music.
Yeah, it was the music and the connection between them and the crowd. But the stage was beautiful. It was like a draped, cloth that said Black Crow. No, it was Happiness Bastards, the name of their album, with the Crow logo, and then like a bunch of patio string lights with giant bulbs and a giant stack of amplifiers.
And Chris
then,
Robinson with a giant mirror behind him, because
Yeah.
we know Chris likes mirrors.
And the amplifiers were stacked in levels that the band members were on. Like, it was just so creatively but simply done, and didn't take away from the music. It was literally all about the music and their connection with the fans, which the Black Crowes are one of the best bands. Chris Robinson doing that, that frontman thing. He's one of the best in the game, and to see, them play those songs for so many years, because for me, they were one of my first inspirations becoming a singer. Was like we did Hard to Handle in my first high school band. We did a couple other Black Crowes songs. Them and Aerosmith were like two bands that really got me started in singing and like frontman performance. So Robinson and Steven Tyler were big influences for me. So to finally see the Black Crowes live, and to see them at MTELUS, so it's not a big arena and we're a little bit closer,
Yeah.
like, it was great. It just, the set list was awesome. And like I said, the way they did it, as opposed to a lot of productions nowadays that are overproduced, It was just so simple and down to the point, and it's like, here's the rock and roll. Let's do it start to finish, and then go home sweaty, and it was beautiful.
Did you see anything this year, and was it loud enough for you?
Actually, it wasn't. I went to one show. I went to because I regret not seeing Green Day. That's the only show I really wanted to see, but that's at Oshaga, and there's 300,000 people, and I don't take the metro there to the island when it gets that way. So yeah, I went to Jason Bottom for around the third or fourth time. Not to name drop, but he knows my younger brother Bobby. So we usually get well treated at his shows.
Nice.
And it was at Amtelis, and it was quiet. I'm serious. And he covers Zeppelin, right? That's all it is. He does pretty well all the hits from Zeppelin, which are loud songs. And especially when you're close up to the stage, and it was quiet. And a couple of people remarked that around me because we could talk. The old days, you didn't talk until you got home. If you left the forum, it was like, you couldn't hear anything.
The ringing.
The ears were ringing, yeah. And, but, so in reply to your question, no, it was very quiet. And that's the only show I saw.
So was there a Led Zeppelin highlight from that show?
Well, I mean, you know what, Cher? They're all good. I can't really pick a favorite. They were all really good. If you've ever seen Jason Bottom, it's just like seeing Zeppelin. They are the greatest Zeppelin cover band on earth.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and it rocks, and it was fine. It was good. Wished I could have gone to the Doobies.
Ooh.
But I think, is that the weekend I passed my kidney stone? I think it was. So doctor said, well, you're not going to a rock show. And I was supposed to go. I know Bilal went, and a few other people. I was supposed to go with Esteban, and didn't. But the next day online, at least on my Facebook and a lot of the feeds and on Instagram as well, there are a ton of CHOM listeners there. It was up in Laval, and it was apparently an excellent show. 50 years under their belt. They know what they're doing, and it's the one band I haven't seen yet. So,
was your kidney stone a long train running?
No, it was the clink in the sink, I think they called it.
It's a B-side.
Yeah, exactly.
I am gonna narrow it down to one show, but I'm gonna do the old honorable mention thing to begin.
As you will.
Some bands that maybe we haven't heard on CHOM, but you should definitely check out. One that I'd say my favorite show of the year was a band from France. I just saw them maybe a couple months ago at Theatre Fairmont, which is like my favorite venue in the city. A band called Slift. Sounds like a made-up word. I think it might be a made-up word. Slift.
Yeah.
Kind of like psychedelic, but heavy psychedelic. Kind of like some Hendrix influence in there a little bit. Really, really great band. And then a couple local bands that recently kind of blew me away. A band, two Quebec bands. One's called Zouz, Z-O-U-Z, Zouz, I think.
Okay.
And the other one is a band called Fudge. And I say it like that because there's a few U's in there, a couple of U's, F-U-U.
So is there a
Zouz and Fudge.
funk influence in Fudge?
You would think. I think of one of the songs, maybe I heard like maybe a little bit of funky bass in there, but I don't know, just kind of like creative rock and roll, I would say, creative rock music.
Nice.
Really good bands. Trying to narrow it down for one that we hear on CHOM, and I have to go with a local guy. The Shane Murphy album launch at Le Studio TD.
Yeah.
Wow.
So much fun. I mean, I've heard Shane play so many times. I've heard those songs a lot of those songs so many times. But just seeing him on that stage with so many people there supporting him was just, it was awesome. I had a bunch of friends there. I was right up at the front. It was just a great vibe, great night. And it was awesome for Shane, I think, too. So it was nice seeing him in that environment. Nice being there. So that'd be my
Great
number
songs
one.
on the new album.
Yes.
Yeah. Easy Street.
So
Yeah,
good.
So really good.
So good. The
He's
guy's-
just so confident.
Yeah.
He oozes that.
Yeah. And he can be because he can back it up. So
He's got a couple of gigs during the holiday period, too. So if anybody wants to go check him out, look at his social media feeds and go see him. He's worth seeing live.
or just show up at a bar and he might be playing.
He's not doing that as much.
I guess not.
Yeah.
So you show up to a bar, he might just be sitting there.
Maybe sitting there having a drink with you. Yeah.
Pierre, you were at Bruce Springsteen. I'm guessing you're not going to pick that show since Randy did.
No, but it was such an amazing night. Absolutely. I'm trying to figure out which one I want to really pick because I was fortunate enough to see quite a few shows this year. I think a few of us went to see the Black Crowes. I think Jay was there.
Yeah,
I think Bilal
great
was there
show.
as well.
So good.
It was great to finally see them, 35 years almost after the debut album. I hadn't seen them before, and they were just great at the MTELUS. Just one of those, really rocket nights. So that would be one of the highlights from this year. I got to see Green Day, much to Pete's dismay at Osheaga. And the great thing there was I was there with both of my daughters. That's the fun part now of, this stage of life where I'm at. And my kids are now older, so we can go out and hang out at shows. It's just great that they get into music as much as I do. And especially my younger one, Sarah, who'll be 15 in January. She loves rock music. So, to go see Green Day with her was just outstanding. Jasmine, my older one, is more into pop and stuff. And we went to see The Last Dinner Party earlier this year, this great female band from the UK. So, I was lucky enough to see quite a few shows. I saw The Warning open up for Evanescence and Hailstorm in October. And I have to say, I think The Warning were better than the other two. And maybe because we're a little biased because we had them right here in the Rock Room 2 years ago. But to watch this band evolve and grow and slowly take on the world is really exciting.
Yeah.
And there's, and we're just a small little pebble in the whole universe of The Warning, but the fact that we do endorse them and we do play them and we have kind of encouraged them early on, and to see them grow like that is such an amazing thing to be a part of collectively here at CHOM.